this morning. Well, run us through what you're making of trade at the NSE at the moment, because the market seems to be inching lower day by day.
Yeah, very thin trading if you look at the market as a whole. And during this week, in fact, the few trades we've seen are basically block trades where, either a foreigner is buying or a local fund manager is buying, or basically trades really from between fund managers. But really, in terms of active trading, that has been limited. And I think most investors are waiting for half-year and full-year results, which are just around the corner.
We've had reports filtering through saying that low interest rates in developed markets are paving the way for foreign investors to actually indulge and pick up bargains at the NSE as local investors watch from the sidelines. I mean, to what extent is this really playing out?
I think that's only partly true, but if you look at the developed market last year, the performance was absolutely remarkable. The markets in sub-Saharan Africa in particular, they basically didn't perform too well, and so you're seeing fund managers keener in these markets. And if you look at the low penetration in Africa in general, this is really where the growth is going to come from. And for them, they think the developed market are really fully valued, and so by coming into markets like Africa, I think that's where the opportunities are.
If we look at this with a one-week perspective, we had KCB pretty active this week. On Tuesday, it was buoyed by the sale of 10 million shares to a foreign investor. The count is sitting on a trailing PE of 12.22 right now. What's your view on KCB at the moment, especially ahead of its full-year results announcement scheduled for within the next couple of weeks?
I think KCB, if you look at it, probably in the short term might not produce, remarkable results for the full year ending 2009. But if you look at it on a longer term perspective, and currently it looks fairly valued. And if you look at the expansion plan, it might be looking to raise capital and just to expand on the back of that. It is actually a very stable bank, and could produce very good results going forward.
Well, certainly on the back of those expansion plans, like you say, longer term perspective looks to be good. In the meantime, Safaricom, typically the most active counter at the bourse, lower volumes, signaling some traders saying that a base is at hand here, but others holding the view that 7 shillings is where the price is going to head to. Your view on Safaricom at the moment?
I think at this time it's fairly valued. We have a price target of 5 shillings and 30 cents. And I think until we see the results, I think that's the level we'll be comfortable at. But we think the results for the year ending March would definitely be exciting the market, and we could see a little bit of speculative activity around the time that the results are getting announced.
In the meantime, East African breweries also seeing a lot of foreign investor attention. We know that this is a pretty liquid stock, and so that's why it enjoys such attention. But we also know that Diageo, which holds a majority stake, announced its result, and they quoted strong performance of Diageo's beer brands in Africa as well. How much of that sentiment has rubbed off on East African breweries?
If you look at the release by Diageo, basically it appears to indicate that East Africa was challenging as a market. For a foreign investor, generally, East African breweries is an allocative play. But if you look at the results, which we expect they're going to release in the next few days, we saw that East Africa will be challenged, especially the Senator, the brew that basically targets the low-end market. The spirits volumes will be negatively affected. They mentioned Tusker and Guinness, the mainstream brands that have performed well. But one thing to note is that they increased prices. So we don't know what element of that is because of an increase in price and what element is due to an increase in volume. But we think on overall volumes will be down, and that could be negative for the stock.
Let's look at a stock that we don't often look at on the show, Centum. I mean, a trader that I was speaking to a while back said that if you want a little bit of everything good that's listed on the Kenyan bourse, Centum would be the way to go. Do you share that sentiment?
Yeah, I think Centum has turned around. I like the strategy that they're actually looking to implement. They made a good investment last year, about 1 or 2 years ago now, in Kabacid. They have a solid holding in KCB. They have a very wide diversity of investments. I think their private equity focus is very key, and investors can actually get access to investments which otherwise they wouldn't themselves be able to get access to. I think the challenge for investors is how to value Centum, because some of the assets are listed, others are not. Others, you have to look at the dividend play on the investments. But I think as they get more assets getting listed, and as they liquidate some of the investments that they already hold as listed and invest in more opportunities in the private equity side, I think that would be very good for the company going forward.